The Second World War affected the entire planet. Literally every state collapsed in one area or another: the economy, infrastructure, society, but only the United States came out almost unharmed after the war, and now you will find out why. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and enjoy this video. The Second World War contributed to the recovery of the United States after the Great Depression and strengthened its economic leadership in the world for a long time. While Europe and Asia suffered from the ravages of war, the United States continued to grow economically. Their industrial power grew at an endless rate, while the industrial potential of Europe and Asia was destroyed during the Second World War by the Allies. By the end of World War II, literally, the United States controlled half of the global economy through loans, American foreign investment, and war debts. The economic influence and export trade operations of the United States reached unprecedented proportions in the period from 1910 to 1950, largely due to military operations in Eurasia. In addition, only the United States had the economic resources to restore the economy and industrial potential of Europe and Asia, which they provided under certain conditions. These conditions included favorable treatment for American corporations, U.S. trade preferences, and the creation of American branches. The war directly strengthened the industrial power of the United States while eliminating other competitors such as the Japanese, who constituted one of the main economic threats to American markets in Asia and the Pacific. In addition, the empires of Great Britain, France and other Western European countries were weakened not only because of their degradation after World War II, but also in the interests of the Anglo-American economy. The imperialist policies of these European states required their colonies to grant them trade preferences, which was contrary to the open-door policy that would allow American corporations to enter other national markets, especially those that were destroyed as a result of the war, and thus ideally suited for the introduction of American corporations. Despite the catastrophic consequences of the Second World War for the whole world, it created favorable conditions for the recovery and development of the economy of the United States of America. The industry has increased 2.5 times due to the huge number of military orders. The war increased investment risks and reduced the interest of private investors in investments. In this situation, the state assumed the role of a strategic investor in all countries involved in the war, including the United States. In the USA, from 1940 to 1945, the state's share in industrial investments was 2/3. The aviation industry was almost entirely created using public funds. In total, the state has built 3,000 industrial enterprises. As a result, in 12 years, from 1933 to 1944, the production base of the U.S. economy was radically updated with the active participation of the state and on the basis of the differentiation of investment functions between the state and the private sector. However, the Second World War led to major changes in the global monetary system. At its completion, about 70% of the world's gold reserves were concentrated in the United States. Almost everywhere after the war, the number of banknotes and coins in circulation significantly exceeded gold and foreign exchange reserves. Due to these conditions, most countries could not liberalize currency circulation without serious negative economic consequences. In the post-war period, the United States became the clear leader of the global economy. The country's national income doubled during the war years. By the end of the war, the United States accounted for 60% of industrial output, 2/3 of the gold reserves, and 1/3 of the exports of the capitalist world. The country emerged from the war even more fortified. Immediately after the war, the United States was able to quickly and successfully rebuild its economy to produce peaceful products, and this effort was completed by mid-1947. The Gross National Product Index has increased. At this stage, the United States made significant efforts to socio-economically stabilize its Western European allies. The whole point is in the geographical location of the continent. The United States is on another continent, while the war on the land border of the center of the planet, the war, simply did not touch the United States, that's all. Based on this, its infrastructure did not suffer, which, on the contrary, overtook its competitors due to the advantage of its integrity and safety. In particular, the country did not experience a shortage of labor and life went on as usual. Plus, the United States helped almost every country that could be helped to drive it into debt and benefit. And now we have as a result that the United States is crushing all the countries of the European Union and doing it quite successfully, and it all started just after the Second World War, when the only country on the planet was not affected, not counting Canada, and continued its industrial development. In the early 2000s, the national wealth of the United States was estimated at $400,000 per capita. The growth of the U.S. economy from 2001 to 2005. Previously, many did not foresee a significant economic downturn in the United States in 2001-2002. Even as signs of recession became more apparent by the end of 2000, the opinion of most influential analysts, businessmen, and government officials was that only minor short-term difficulties were possible, which, however, the powerful American economy would quickly absorb. Since the end of 2000 and in the first half of 2001, the U.S. government and the Fed used almost all the levers of the monetary direction in order to localize the recession. But unfortunately, in 2008 they could not overcome the collapse of the economy. There was a powerful crisis, and we all remember it. Fortunately, the economy has been able to stabilize, but by all indications it is waiting for another collapse, and I told you about it in one of my last videos. I recommend that you watch it if you haven't watched it yet, and be sure to write your opinion about it in the comments. 10 facts about the US economy before and after WW2. After the end of World War II, the U.S. economy became one of the most powerful and developed in the world. The post-war period contributed to rapid economic growth in the United States through the introduction of new technologies and innovations. In 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement established a system of fixed exchange rates, which helped strengthen the leading role of the dollar in the global economy. In the post-war years, the United States became one of the leading countries in the field of automobile production, becoming a world leader in this industry. The U.S. economy during and after the war was oriented towards market principles and free trade, which contributed to economic growth. After the war, investments in scientific research and technological innovations led to a significant increase in production and an improvement in living standards. In 1947, the U.S. Foreign Trade Cooperation Act was passed, which stimulated exports and supported free trade. Military conflicts after World War II, such as the Cold War, contributed to the development of the military-industrial complex and the U.S. military-industrial complex. After the war, the U.S. economy began to occupy leading positions in world trade, finance and manufacturing. The economic leadership of the United States after the war contributed to the creation of a system of international organizations, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization, in order to stabilize the global economy. Write in the comments what you think about this. I found a lot of background information when I made this video and studied a lot of information from various reliable sources to present you the whole truth as it is. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel because every 2 days a new interesting video is released for you, and also share this video with your friend so that he knows the entire economic history of our countries as well as you. Bye, everyone.